This image shows the standard layout of a polling booth. On Election Day, the room is organized to ensure a steady flow of voters across 3 distinct stations, each managed by a dedicated polling officer. While every officer plays a vital role, the core of the operation happens at the second desk. Here, the second polling officer manages the Form 17A register, the legally binding ledger that records every single person who casts a ballot. To run this station effectively, you need to master 3 specific processes. First, logging the standard voter flow. Second, documenting legal edge cases and exceptions. And third, officially locking the register at the end of the day. Executing these 3 steps precisely ensures that every vote is accounted for and creates an official, unchallengeable record of the day's events. Step 1 begins before the voter even reaches the 17A register. The first polling officer verifies the voter's identity and marks them off the electoral roll. This marking follows a strict syntax. A diagonal line indicates a male voter, a circle drawn around the serial number indicates a female voter, and the letter T is written for transgender voters. At the second polling officer, record the ID type in column 3 of Form 17A. For a standard voter ID, or EPIC, write only EP. For alternative IDs, write the abbreviation plus the last 4 digits, like DL2040. Next, the voter must provide a physical signature or a thumbprint in column 4 to legally confirm their presence. To prevent double voting, you then apply indelible ink to the voter. The ink must be painted in a continuous line from the top joint down to the nail on the voter's left index finger. Finally, you issue a standard voter slip. The voter hands this to the third polling officer, who then activates the EVM control unit, allowing the voter to cast their ballot. Identify, record, ink, and vote. Following this exact sequence keeps the line moving and handles the vast majority of booth traffic. Not every voter fits the standard flow. When exceptions occur, you use column 5 of Form 17A, the remarks section, to log the deviation. For instance, if a voter appears on the ASD list, meaning absentee, shifted, or dead, you must collect both a signature and a thumbprint in column 4 and write ASD vote in the remarks. Sometimes a voter signs the register but then decides not to cast a ballot. Under Rule 49.0, you write refuse to vote in the remarks. Both the voter and the presiding officer must sign next to this entry. If a voter violates the secrecy of the voting booth, Rule 49M applies. You write not allowed to vote in the remarks, and again, both the voter and the presiding officer must sign it. When someone votes on behalf of another as a legally authorized proxy voter, you record PV in the remarks column. Proxy voters require a specific physical identifier. Instead of the index finger, you apply the indelible ink to the proxy voter's left middle finger. A similar exception applies to assisted voters. If a disabled voter brings a helper, you apply the ink to the helper's right index finger. These specific ink placements and precise register notes create a clear paper trail, preventing double voting and protecting your team from future legal audits. There is one specific anomaly that requires complete separation from the standard process, the tendered vote. This happens when a legitimate voter arrives, only to find that someone else has already cast a ballot in their name. If this occurs, do not enter their details into the Form 17A register and do not allow them to use the voting machine. Instead, the true voter is processed entirely on paper using a tendered ballot, and their information is recorded exclusively in a separate document known as Form 17B. Once the designated polling hours conclude and the final voter has left, it is time to officially lock the Form 17A register. First, draw a horizontal line directly across the page, immediately below the final voter entry. Beneath that line, you must write the legally required declaration. The serial number of last entry in Form 17A is, followed by that exact final number. Below this declaration, the second polling officer, the presiding officer, and any designated polling agents present in the room must affix their signatures. This combination of the dividing line, the written declaration, and official signatures physically seals the ledger, ensuring no additional entries can be written after the polls close. You now have a fully completed register featuring accurate identification data, properly logged exceptions, and a securely locked final page. You know how to process the standard voter flow without delays, exactly where to apply ink for proxy and assisted voters, and how to safely divert tendered votes onto their own specific paperwork. The final step is for the presiding officer to compile these registers and prepare the verified documents for submission to the returning officer. By following these exact Form 17A protocols, your team secures the validity of every ballot cast in your booth, leading straight to a smooth and successful handover.